Good morning. Welcome to Gruber Power Hour. I'm Janie.
I'm Nicole.
And we have several topics that we're going to go over today. But I wanted to start out with mentioning next Friday. We are going to have a guest with us next Friday. Who could that be?
Who could that be?
The Highlander is going to join us, which we're excited about.
Super excited.
Yeah, and his granddaughter as well.
Aww.
She's going to be a star.
Yay.
Yeah, I know they're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to having them on. Yeah, it'll be a fun show. But along with that, we're also going to have our 40-year celebration, our anniversary celebration, and it's going to be fun around here on our campus.
Activities.
Right.
We've been working really hard on this.
Yes, we have. Logistically planning it. So we're going to have a time capsule, which is going to be super cool.
Yes.
And we're going to bury it on the property, opening up on
4440 now.
4440.
We changed the date. It was 4444 because it was cooler and it was 20 years from now. But because it's the 40th anniversary, we thought on the 40th year would be more appropriate. So that's why we're doing it on the 4440 instead.
Right. And we're going to have a cake and a barbecue. So that'll
interviews.
Oh,
a picture booth.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of stuff going
on.
We're
going to be living it up. And then we'll have videos to come after the fact as well. We're going to go live for a little bit. Mm-hmm. If anybody wants to chime in while we're live.
Right. It'll be kind of like one of those, the after show to the after show is what we're,
Yeah.
Whatever they call it.
Yes. Also, because it's been a while, good morning, Instagram.
Oh, right.
Since you're joining us from the beginning now, I do miss saying good morning to you guys. So good morning, Instagram.
Yep. There you go. You know, I was just thinking we should have a tagline like, on The Price is Right, how he would always end it.
Come on down.
No, how he'd always end it. Have your animals spayed or neutered.
Oh,
I'm going to do the same thing one of these.
That went sideways
off
quick.
topic.
That went sideways very quick there, Janie.
No, completely off topic.
Okay, so the reason why she wants your animals spayed and neutered is because Janie has become the shelter for all the pregnant cats in her neighborhood.
Indeed.
And she now has a birthing center.
In my backyard.
In her backyard. So if anybody wants kittens, just let us know. I'm sure we can mail them to you.
Right out of our shipping.
Out of the shipping and receiving out there. Dusty would be super excited.
All right, so now back on plan here. Okay, so anyways, what we were going to talk about today is continuing the effort of going through our website.
Right.
And Jesse, can we bring up our website?
Also, while Jesse's bringing up our website, please like, share, subscribe, comment, all those good things.
Absolutely.
We might have a friendly competition going on with the group that's does their Thursday podcast. So we definitely want you to share our channel so that we can definitely stay ahead of them. We want to be a million first.
There you go. Exactly.
We are not competitive. I am not at all competitive.
Okay, so we have Pete, welcome Highlander next week, one of our most faithful and dedicated audience members. Yes, absolutely. He is and has been an awesome
I think you can take one of out of that sentence, probably. He watches all our podcasts. He is not even in the United States, so his time zone is completely off, and he still manages to join us and chit chat with us a little bit on all of the shows, not just ours or not, even the AI ones and the Gruber Motors and the and all of them, literally. So I would definitely say he is the most faithful.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to finding out how he found us to begin with.
Exactly.
What's the story behind that?
And I do want to know the time difference. I really do, because we have morning shows, we have middle of the day shows, we have afternoon shows, and he's able to go to all of them. So I'm just kind of curious what the time zone difference is.
I didn't think
is
about
he up all night? Is he got insomnia?
Something like that. Go ahead, Nicole. Your turn.
The GPS 100,000 YouTube award plaque now hangs at the entrance of the GPS building. Again, many thanks to our dedicated audience. All of our dedicated audience got us to the 100,000 mark. So I think we're at, last I looked, we're at 166,000.
Oh, no,
right.
yeah, 173.
Oh, we're at 173. Thanks, guys.
Even better.
Hey, that sharing is going a long way.
Almost
We appreciate it.
174.
That's awesome. Okay, so I'm like
Less than
blocking the
174.
services here. Let me go like this
I don't know why I'm
on
moving.
our screen.
I feel like if I move, then it moves you or something.
I know.
I'm trying to move the set again.
I know that was
That was
interesting. Okay, so in our services, there we go. Oh, whoa. We've been going through what we offer, and we have our 24/7 technical support, our UPS maintenance and service plans we reviewed, our rental services, our depot repair center. We have a fantastic area that we have dedicated to working on refurbishing, repairing, and restoring UPS equipment. Testing, doing the diagnostics on them. And so we have a dedicated area in our facility. Do you have that picture, Jesse, of the depot that I put in that email, the folder? I actually put a picture of our depot in there. Facility. Let's see if we can bring it up here. But anyways, what it goes through is we have high voltage wires running into the facility and dedicated lines.
It's
There you
right
go.
There. That's where the depot
That's
is.
there. Yeah, you got it. Anyways, and we have a great group back there. They are experienced working on many different types of units,
Yes.
you know, and in the past history, we had a lot of component units coming to us that we worked on. And as people are evolving, they're going more modular. And so, you know, we've been evolving right along with what's going on in the market and working on a lot of those units. Doing the level of repair all the way to the circuit boards.
Right.
And the cable repairs, which we actually have a cable manufacturing group that are to our avail, which is also very beneficial for us. There it is. Bingo.
There's the depot. I was about to point where where Tom was, but never mind.
Right. You got it.
Just the other side of that wall is where we get the cables from.
You know, safety's a big thing around here.
Yes.
You know, and so this area of our warehouse, our facility, you can't just freely walk around and go back there. Oh, we've got some, before I go any further.
I was going to let you finish that. This thought process first.
Okay. Anyways, no, you can't just freely walk around and go back there. We actually have, you can't see in this picture, but we
It's
have
blocked off.
Exactly. We have
No
a
entry.
chain, you know, link that goes across it with the sign, you know,
You have
warning.
to stand there patiently until somebody sees you.
Right, exactly. Hey, I'm here.
Yep.
Anyways, proper PPE is required to be in there, and because they are opening up units, live units, you know, and testing them. And so that's a big part of it.
Yeah. They don't want us to get hurt. They don't want us to be exposed to something we shouldn't be exposed to. But also, they don't want the technicians to get distracted and happen to miss a step or, you know,
there you go.
Any kind of thing that's going to keep them from being able to do their job the best that they can do their job. That's one of the biggest things. And Lenny has been a very great pioneer in the let's make sure we get our work done first. The depot will talk to us. They will talk to account managers. They'll talk to Janie and I. We just have to schedule a time with them when they're not in the middle of working on someone's units, because the last thing we want is for them to get distracted and miss a step and then not do the repairs in the manner that we expect them to be done,
or they're exposing themselves to risk.
Exactly. So
yeah,
we definitely want to make sure they stay on track. So that is something that we do, and that is a big part of the chaining off and the not allowed to be there. It's, you know, safety, and at the end of the day, the distractions is safety for the customer.
Right.
So, because if we miss something, who knows, you know,
later down the road, the
what
impact
could
on
happen.
it.
Exactly.
Right.
So there's a lot of reasons why we do that, and it's to protect the customers as well. So
Right. And continue to keep work on track, so we get it, you know, continue to the next. We have a flow.
we definitely have a flow. They have a process down there, and they're always booting, scooting, boogieing right along. So
that's right. You know, keeping up with it.
We just walk by and wave every now and again. We're not allowed back there.
That's right.
I went back there one time. It was scheduled for me to go back there. I had to go do a quality assurance thing, and the whole time I was back there, I was like, had butterflies in my stomach. I wanted to throw up because I was like, I know I'm not supposed to be over here, even though it was my scheduled time. And I did have an appointment to go down there, and I was checking my customer's unit to make sure that it worked correctly. And I still was like so nervous to be behind that line.
Your arms to your side.
And I was just like, I didn't talk. I did not even talk, Janie.
I know.
I was
I know.
like, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. But yeah, it's definitely its own little world down there. They're very on track about everything. They're very focused on everything that they do. They have a checklist. They have their policies and procedures that they follow, again, for safety of the customers and safety of the employees, but mostly for the customers.
Absolutely. Yes, that's what it comes back to. Okay, I think we're at a good point here.
Yeah.
Highlander, my family and I are truly humbled Pete, and we're happy to be part of the team, the Highlander. That's awesome. My niece is practicing. I think it'll be great for her, the Highlander. Yes, we're excited to have her on.
I think they're going to start a family podcast, I think is what he had said yesterday. So we're excited to support him as well. Yeah.
That would be
I'm waiting on
great.
details. You were in a meeting, so you missed it.
Oh, okay.
But yes.
Go ahead, Nicole. Read the next one.
What about UPS units for the teens to help maintain the video games while they have a brief power outage?
That's where a small unit might come into play.
You can get a small unit and you can save your spot where you're at so that you don't lose whatever production that you've done. But in order to have the UPS where you can actually continue to play the video games, you don't have enough space in your house. It will cost you a fortune. So you're just going to have to tell your kids that they have to save it and get back to it later, because we've done a lot of research on it, because we went through this whole rabbit hole of, hey, if we can sell it to the PS5s and blah, blah, blah. But we did the research, and it would just take up way too much space and not financially make a whole lot of sense for video games anyway. So
the longevity.
Yes.
Yeah, because they're supposed to be there for a short period of time. Yeah, that
we
makes
thought
sense.
we had a market there for a hot second. We thought we really had a market, but we didn't.
Right.
We were wrong.
Well,
try.
Well, you know, I could see a little 1.5 kVA, a 2 kVA, just being there for that brief period of time. Yeah, so they
at
can
least
save
just
the
your
spot where they're at in the game. I mean,
I don't know what would that be called? It's not save your work. Let's see.
Yeah,
do you save your spot in the game?
You save your progress, yeah.
Oh, progress. Okay. I was like, I know it's not
we're
work,
not gamers,
and
so we don't
they
know.
have the little, they have like little tiny box APCs that go under the desk that I used to have in like call centers and stuff in the past. So they have those little mini ones, but I think a really small one could work too.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Just long enough to save it, though.
Exactly. Yeah, you're only getting minutes. You know, you're not getting 12 hours of binging on a game.
No, it's time to come out of the room and help your mom, folks. I was going to say do laundry, but I guess if you have no power, you can't do laundry. But you can put your laundry away. You can clean your room with a flashlight.
Right.
I mean, I played like Tetris and Frogger. So all of this new stuff, I'm
right there with you.
I'm out. I'm out.
I'm
yeah, and yes, I know I aged myself. I'm okay with that.
I'm right there with you.
Super Mario Brothers didn't even have names. Like, it was Mario and Luigi and Princess. There was no Bowser. I mean, Bowser was there, but nobody knew his name.
Right.
And I didn't even know Bowser until I was in my mid-30s. I had a customer who was a gamer say, you mean like the guy on Mario Brothers? And I'm like, no, that's Mario and Luigi.
See, but
you learn as you go.
You're a good mom, though, because you do have kids that game, and you've come and talked to me about what monitors to get them, that kind of stuff. So you can always get it for them too.
My kids love Jesse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
he helps support the high-end tech.
Hey, I'm not into it. I don't know about it. I know somebody that can, somebody that does, and I will not afraid to ask the questions.
Okay, so that circles back to everything that we do here, and what we're good at is finding the people that can provide us the best answers for solutions to the situations that are going on.
Even if it's not work related.
Actually, But so it's all about finding the right resources.
I go to Jesse anytime I have a computer issue, a watch issue, a monitor issue, a word issue,
printing issue. The list goes on.
Oh, wonderful.
Apparently I talk at Jesse, not to Jesse. And not with Jesse, but at him.
So let's talk about going back to our depot.
Back to work. Okay. Got it.
Okay. Back to the depot. So our services that we offer. So we went through some of the services that we offer as far as the refurbishing, the restoration. We do cosmetic work as well. We'll go through, we have a paint booth. We'll paint them. We'll make them look good again. And so as far as timelines go for executing those services, that was something that came up, and there isn't an exact timeline that you can give for any one unit, of when something can be completed, because you don't know how involved it's going to be until you get in there and start working it.
Right. And then also it depends on what we have going on. Obviously, if it's stuff we're refurbishing for ourselves to sell, all of that stuff is going to get pushed aside to do the customer stuff first. But there have been times when we've had 10 customers say, hey, something happened, and send stuff in. And then sometimes we're just working on our own stuff. So obviously, if we're just working on Gruber stuff, it's going to go through a lot faster than if we have customers. And those are kind of first come, first serve, who's ever gets here first. And we're, again, going to put the same time and effort into every single unit as that we did. Well, every single unit just covered everything I was going to say, and it totally threw me off. But
that's okay.
But we just make sure that we go through the same process with everything in every single unit. Obviously, the 1-phase and the 3-phase, there's a time difference. In the 3-phase, there's more things that can go wrong. There's more things to check. It's going to take longer. Dwayne Moore, I was sales support for him, one of our account managers. More seasoned account manager. He's been here a while. He has a customer that will send in units, little 1-phase units. He does send them in occasionally a couple times a year or whatever, depending on what's going on. And we fix them and send them back to him. And there's been times when they'll come in on Monday or Tuesday and ship out on Friday, because whatever the problem was minor enough that we're able to get it fixed and get it right back out immediately. And there's been times when it took a little bit longer because it was a little more complicated. Right. So it just kind of depends on the situation. But definitely we want to get your stuff back to you as soon as possible. But we also want to make sure that we did our due diligence and made sure that everything was actually right, correct, and working properly, and that there aren't going to be any issues when you get it back.
Absolutely.
And we do a lot of testing before we send it back too.
Oh, yeah. Lots of quality control.
Just to make sure. Yes.
Right. We also will prioritize based on the needs of
the customers.
Right. If we've got a critical outage that's dependent on what we're doing in depot with that unit, and we'll make sure to, communicate with each other to prioritize the work based on the needs that are needed at that time, and the timelines that we're looking at. It's working efficiently.
And also industrial, depending on your industry, some can handle a little more time than others can.
Absolutely.
And obviously that's something that, like you said, communicate. We get the communication from the customer, like, hey, I've got this or that going on. I need a certain amount of time or whatever. And we'll let you know.
Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. That's not a problem. We can do that. Or, well, this is what we can do. I'm not really sure because it sounds like, but we won't know till we see it. But we at least communicate all of that very clearly about what's going on and what the
timeline.
The reasonable. I guess,
right.
Like what's reasonable to have something done, and what their idea, just based on the conversations. I think it might be this, that could be blah, 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 like amount of time, or we'd have to get this part or that part. But also that's where the whole rental comes in, because if you have something, you need something, but you're not really sure what's wrong with it, we can always send you something in the meantime to keep you up and running. That way you're not losing anything important in the meantime. So again, part of having the resources that we have here, just keeping everybody covered.
That's exactly the highlight.
PYA.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and that's where it's nice that we have a 17,000 square foot warehouse, you know, where we have parts to our avail, and we have other units available for us to be able to do that and execute in such a quick, efficient manner.
Exactly.
Yeah, very good to have. Let's see. Highlander, please remember to hit that liked subscribe button, folks. The Highlander. Thank you, the Highlander. Go ahead, Nicole. You go next.
Michael Scott says, good morning, Gruber. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Michael.
Highlander. Gotta love the name, Scott. That's my name. Aw.
Right?
Michael Scott says, I thought your name was Highlander. I mean,
we'll let them chat back and forth. We'll see the outcome.
There'll be some birth certificates later. It's fine.
Right. What happens?
Right.
So, back to our website. So please call us. You can send us any questions that you have regarding our depot services right through our website. We have a contact info section, and you can put in your contact information. And actually, Nicole and I are the group behind the scenes that when these come in, we're making sure they're getting taken care of right away.
And Jessica.
And Jessica, absolutely.
Jessica's a big part of that.
She's critical. Yes. And so we're the ones that'll see these come in and ensuring that they get put in the proper hands, that we respond right away, and we do our follow-ups and all of that. Right.
And up when on the services, I was gonna go, but you were on a flow, so I didn't.
Okay.
The 24-hour tech support. Remember, you do not have to be a customer. Anybody can call our 24-hour support if you need help.
Right. Exactly.
I try to emphasize that as much as I can.
You don't have to have a maintenance agreement in place to utilize our services.
We're going to help you because that's how this company was founded.
Right. And we'll put you in touch with a field engineer that has the knowledge to be able to walk you through the scenario or provide you advice of options of what it could be.
And if it's something you guys can't figure out on the phone, we will then connect you with an account manager and someone in service, and have someone actually physically come out to your location and help you with the situation.
You know what has been really neat that I have seen evolve over the years is our ability to do FaceTiming.
Yes.
In those moments when we have customers calling us up and it's like, okay, they'll get an FE on the phone and they'll walk them through, okay, show me the unit, walk me through it.
Right.
Yeah.
The only time that becomes a little bit of an issue is when one person has an Apple and the other person has the Samsung. Then it's an issue.
Is it?
So John.
I wouldn't know.
John V.
Okay.
I'm going to leave it at that.
Right.
Account manager, VAN is his email address. He had a customer the other day that was having an issue. They had to have a call. Well, he had a Samsung. The customer had the Apple. Okay. They ended up doing it on Zoom, but I also was like, here, you can take my phone. It's an Apple. But they had already had it figured out by the time I noticed that there was an issue.
Right.
But so again, there's things like that. I offered to let him use my phone because the customer had an Apple and it just would have been easier, but they had to have the Zoom.
If you have a Samsung and somebody else has an Apple phone, they won't do the FaceTime?
No, doesn't work.
Okay, see what I know. Here I am with the technology
and I used
thing.
To be the only one in my
about our technology knowledge.
I used to be the only one in my family that didn't have an Apple, and then eventually I can track my kids without them knowing on Apple versus if I still had the Samsung, we would have had to do like Life 360 or something. Okay. And I never have enough room. I take way too many pictures and videos. So it takes up way too much memory. So with an Apple, it's just there. It just makes it easier. So I'm making my way onto the Apple front, but I still really like a lot of options that Samsung has over Apple. I really do.
Right.
Until my kids get a little older, I'm just going to deal with the Apple part.
Okay.
Jesse.
Right.
Jesse really likes Apple.
Okay, let's see what we have here. Highlander, Pete Gruber is the only person on the internet that has my full information. Oh, that's awesome. 𝙎𝙗𝙗𝙚𝙬, smart man.
Right.
Very cool.
It's best that you don't share any information.
Right.
I actually did put out a message on my Facebook about the whole AI thing with AI, and they have, what is it, 15 minutes of your voice? They can, like, they've been scamming grandparents and stuff.
Oh, I've seen that.
So
yeah, I've seen that
I put out a little thing the other day, like, well, now with the YouTube, like, anybody can get my voice. So I definitely did put out a thing that says, if I'm calling you asking for help, hang up on me. If I need help, I will come face to face with you, because that's scary. It freaks me out a little bit. There is a video of Pete's voice that wasn't Pete, and I won't listen to it because it freaks me out. I'm like, I'm good.
Right. That's just like the whole self-driving car thing and all of that.
Yeah, no, I don't trust any of that. I just don't.
So the next area that I wanted to point out that we have on our website here, let me back up. Remote monitoring services. So there's two different ways I know that you can do remote monitoring. You can get the equipment actually and tied into your UPS system. Right. And so the customers can, through their phone, be alerted to any events taking place with the unit. Right. And then we have also provided the same level of services for our customers, where we get the alerts and know what's going on with their units, so that way we can dispatch right away.
Right. Exactly. And sometimes it's easier for us that way, because who knows, the customer might have their phone off at their child's graduation, or maybe at a ballet recital or whatever, and that gives us the some kind of start. The head start. The head start. I'm getting there. Sorry, my brain is not working today. It gives us the head start to go ahead and start working on that.
Right.
Even while they're, busy and have their phone off or whatever. So.
Right. We can execute a plan based on what type of alert is coming in. Do we need to have somebody dispatched to the site? Is it something you do over the phone?
When the customer calls, let us know there's an issue. We can say, oh, this is our plan to fix it.
Right. Exactly.
Which is great.
Exactly, which has happened and comes in, that's very
more than
verbal.
Once. But yes, it definitely is. And it helps us too, to be able to go through everything and see what we can see, because it gives us more information than we would if maybe somebody like me was trying to tell you what was going on with it. You're going to get a lot more off of that alert than you would from me, because I'd be like, it's making noises. I don't know.
I hear it beeping.
Right. There's a flashing light. And that wouldn't help. That wouldn't help anybody.
Right.
So it definitely helps.
Let's do our full disclaimer as we're talking about that.
I am not technical at all.
And neither am I.
No.
But however, being in the industry for 10 years, you've been in the industry for several years.
3.
We understand the components to a level that we know what it takes to take care of them.
Exactly.
We understand what motions need to be set forward to do whatever is necessary to take care of the customers.
Who to go to.
That's exactly it. We know how
That's our motto.
Yeah. So our disclaimer is that while we cannot be the technical resource for you as far as giving you specs and that kind of information when it comes to the equipment, we do know who to go to. We know how to source the information, and we will be sure to take care of you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
Yes, exactly. So let's see. So please go to our website if you want to learn more about our remote monitoring services. We do have a contact us pay area on there as well that allows you to give us your information, and we will be in touch with you right away. So something I wanted to go down, a road I wanted to go down as well while we were doing this is we were talking about bringing up the latest news and surrounding it by what's going on in the industry. And so while I was looking up different subjects of what's going on in this industry in the critical power industry, I know Nicole's looking forward to this conversation all week long.
Yes. I can feel the nauseousness starting.
Yeah. One of the things that I found is that AI and predictive maintenance, learning the algorithms that are being utilized by the UPS systems to predict what kind of maintenance is going to be needed on the equipment. And that is something that is beginning to gain momentum. Right. And, you know, it's funny because we started it with our auto notifications. Right. You know, that actually, in a sense, is the same kind of thing. We were trying to predict, you know, or we are predicting when we see
on what
the history has been,
what the history of the unit's been, what the manufacturer recommendations are for what their timeline is, what they think their life expectancy of those parts are, like batteries 2 to 4 years. So we were doing it all based on that.
7 to 10.
Yeah, 7 to 10. So we kind of do all the notify based on what the manufacturer's recommendations are.
Right.
So this just takes it a step further to, is the manufacturer's recommendations exactly, or because the manufacturer's recommendations are based on, it runs this much, it has this temperature, it runs for this many hours, it has this much of a load, like these specific situations. Like for instance, I bought a house years ago. I built it, and part of the thing was if I kept my utilities between 70 and 75 at all times throughout the entire year, they guaranteed me that that part of my electricity bill wouldn't go over like $80 or something. And if it did, then they paid the difference, because they were so sure that based on all of their things, if I did the recommendation, that my bill would be a certain way. Well, I don't keep my house at that temperature, so it didn't matter to me. But it's still, it's a very similar situation where they are predicting it based on if you do specific things. Right. But in the real world,
there's so many variables out there. Right.
The weather changes, people leave the door open, you know, they may not be spray airing the dust out, so that may make the machines run a little bit hotter. You know, there's all kinds of different factors that go in. So as far as like when it comes to this kind of stuff, I'm okay with the AI part of it because it does help. It helps us, it helps the customer, it helps everybody. In that they can say, oh, well, because the temperature is a little bit hotter, this is maybe going to wear out faster, which I that's very helpful.
Yes,
it is. That is very helpful.
Hey, Jesse, can you bring up our other picture that I have of the
scary one?
Yeah, the one Nicole is scared of. Let's bring that one up. And 1, 2, 3.
There we go.
There we go. So a futuristic scene in the future. Now, we have field engineers out in the field. They are very valuable to us. They are, you know, critical to what we do, how we function, you know, us as a company as a whole. Right. And I think what we are doing as a company is continuing to evolve with technology. And I see them working along with a scenario like this in the future. Because, you know, it's just like with the vehicles and the self-driving. You know, they didn't just put a vehicle on the road without a man behind the wheel. I know they have some now. But there's still somebody steering the ship back at central headquarters. They have those big offices with screens and people watching to see what they're doing out there. It's that same kind of, you know.
That freaks me out. But I was at Barrow's
They're
picking
still
up
very much involved.
Pizza maybe 2 weeks ago, and there was a white Tesla, and the lady was on the curb. And when I tell you it was 4 parking spaces this way and 2 parking spaces this way, I mean exactly that. And she had her little remote thingy to have her car come and pick her up. And I was like, I can't with this.
Oh.
First of all, you need the steps. Just go ahead and walk. It wasn't even that far, but it was. And I immediately thought of Jesse as soon as I saw the white Tesla with the little start button thing and the lady standing on the curb waiting on her car to pick her up.
Well, maybe she had a lot of bags or something. And
she had just ate at a Mexican restaurant. She might have had a few margaritas. I don't know, but it just.
Right. The whole.
I mean, we were supposed to have flying cars by now. We were supposed to be like the Jetsons. Like we were supposed to be. So kind of this is behind. I mean, if you want to go there, but it's still weird to me. And just because I'm not a technical person and I have trust issues. I'm not even gonna lie. I have trust issues. So I will never get in a car that drives itself. Right. I can't. I have no trust. I barely will get in a car that another person is driving. Right. So that is, and it's just a trust issue thing. It is.
No, I understand it.
I'll admit it.
Where this is going to be great. And that's kind of along the subject of what we had prior to the show starting, was that how, you have a component unit that needs capacitors changed out on them. Well, I understand from our history and working on them that the capacitors are located in areas on some of these component units. It's dangerous to get into it.
They're harder to get to. And...
Right, exactly. And so, there are steps and things like that. So if you can take something and let something else go in there. Now, I also mentioned that it'd have to obviously be made out of something that wasn't conductive.
Yes, that was our whole conversation before the show was like, oh yeah, they can change the capacitors, but wait, it's metal. And then we just kind of like went on a whole, and I wish we would have had that recorded because it was actually a really good conversation.
I know, because maybe they will evolve to put skin, or what were you talking about, Aaron, with the screwdrivers that have
the insulation
on them. Right. So, we'll have an AI and PPE that will go in there. And
well, there's materials out there. Like I had screwdrivers that were not non-metal, but they had a sheath over it or some kind of material over it, or like a rubberish kind of a material that if you accidentally slipped or touched something hot, you weren't going to electrocute yourself, And I'm sure that if we had, AI with robots, messing around with, power, batteries, connections, hot swappables, more than likely they'll have some type of material or be grounded somehow to where they're, you're not going to fry your robot if it, if something goes wrong,
Right, exactly.
Or your UPS.
Absolutely.
That would defeat the whole purpose.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, what is really interesting about this is, we already, through our service reports, are monitoring the health of the UPS equipment. When we're going out there and we're doing our, semi-annual, annual PMs on the equipment, we are reading the report to see, if we see anything that's changed with the unit to try to do this, essentially what we're talking about, where, we can try to predict if there's any maintenance that's coming up or it's going to be needed on the equipment, measuring the battery levels to see where they're at and how long the batteries are going to last for how much longer. Right. And, with AI that's able to just put it in a centralized data place to get us the outcome of what it's reading. Right. It's just going to make us more efficient and better.
And it will help with budgeting.
Right.
For sure. There are positives to it. There are. But I just don't like if it could stick to just things like this, I would be okay with it. But like even going in to order lunch, like now you have to trip over these kiosks to even get to a person. And it's things like that. Like, there needs to be like a limit. I feel like if that doesn't help anybody, it really doesn't. Ordering your own food really doesn't help you. But things like this, it's definitely a positive. It definitely does help. It helps a lot of people, even just one UPS, knowing what's going on with that UPS, it helps It helps us because we're the ones that are having to service it. Then it helps our customer to know what's going on, help them with their budgeting, and it helps their customers too to make sure whatever it is that they have their products, or, you know, if it's the 911 center, knowing that you can still call them at all times, no matter what, because they're not going to go down. So then it helps like everybody within that city or that county or whomever is calling into that same center. So it does help a lot of people in the long run. So if it sticks to just electronics, I'm cool with that. But the self-driving cars and the that's just too much. I'm tapped out at that point. I'm done. Like, I just can't.
Wait till you're 80. We'll see where we're at by then.
I may not make it to 80. I'm probably gonna have a heart attack from being freaked out about AI.
Your watch will save you from the heart attack at that
my
point.
Watch will tell me, hey.
It won't let that heart attack happen. It'll immediately like have a defibrillator.
Right. And I've had this little smartwatch thing for 2 years, and I just barely started wearing it like maybe a month or two ago because I started counting my steps. I didn't even have the step counter thing. I deleted the whole app from my phone as much as I could. So I didn't know what was going on. And then I recently started walking while my son is at baseball practice. And then I was just curious how far I was walking. And then Jesse helped me find where I had
to restore
found it so that I could get it back on my phone again. So to go back and see. So then now I'm caught up in the whole steps thing. So now I'm wearing the watch so I can keep up with my steps. And I'm not going to tell you my ab today because it's kind of sad. But again, then I have to remember to put my watch on too. So
what was that, Aaron? I think you were going to chime in.
Oh, I was just going to say that Nicole's robot in 20, 30, 40 years will help her save her driver to her hospital in case something happens.
Right.
So, yeah.
Probably, because I know my kids won't. Yeah. They're going to be busy playing video games and stuff, I'm sure. I'll be on my own at that point. If I make it that far, we'll see.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry.
I said the same thing too. Oh my goodness.
I don't know.
It's pretty interesting on reading on here how it's going to measure the historical data, you know, what it's going to do as far as the machine learning, the algorithms, you know, regression. There's decision trees that it's going to take from our neural networks to be able to predict when maintenance is needed. Right. Any other interesting information that you pulled up from it, that you read from there at all?
So the thing that, again, okay, it's taken me, how long have smartwatches been around?
I don't even have one.
10 years? I don't know. And I just now started wearing one. So it's possible I can come around. It is possible I can come around. But the whole, like, how it's measuring things and how it's monitoring things and the purpose of it, like, I get it, I understand it, and I can appreciate it.
Right.
Still a little freaky. But I can't knock it because it does help. It does make sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll come around. I don't know about the self-driving car. I don't know if I'll ever be okay with that. But I wanted a Jetson car when I was little, so maybe I will.
Right.
But so the article goes on to talk about how it's going to monitor and what it's going to use, and it's using vibrations and different things that, like, I guess I never would have thought that could give you data about how long a UPS part is going to last. But I mean, I guess it does make sense. It's just, it's very interesting the way they're going to do it. So
I mean, at the end of the day, there's going to be scenarios that are going to happen that you're not going to be able to predict.
No. You know, they're in there, and that's the whole thing. We were having a conversation 2 or 3 days ago about the AI bots versus the FEs and how that kind of takes the personable part out of it. But this is a conversation Janie and I had, is like, we don't, at Gruber at least, we don't want it to be where AI now does it. We want it to be in conjunction, because again, AI is not going to provide the same kind of customer service as a human would, because they don't have the empathy, and maybe they will one day, but I don't see it. They're not going to care that your kids are graduating high school. Like, I just don't see that being a thing. But that's where having the person being able to work with the AI or with the robot, you kind of get the best of both worlds. And that's kind of the road that Gruber is headed towards, not having to worry about losing your job, not being irrelevant, but also having the help of something that thinks faster than you do. Right. Has more access than you do.
Right. It's going to be a great way to, like I said, to fundamentally put us in a place to be able to collect the data.
Right.
I mean, think about it. All the years that we've been servicing customers and the data that we have from servicing those customers and the variables of the situations that we've come across from servicing those customers.
And the amount of time it takes us to read all of that information, AI isn't going to.
Well, our FEs have a lot going on up here from all of their history and experience, you know, so I can only imagine. I wonder how long it's going to take for AI to collect that data to get to that same level.
Right. And again, because every situation is different and the variables are so crazy, that's where it's going to have to take that human to say, hey, also AI can't see that this is going on.
In this room,
let me help
or in this
to communicate that factor in so that we can fix this or whatever the situation is. So I just I feel better after talking to you about it being a conjunction thing. I do, because I'm like, the robots are taking over the world and humans are not going to need to even be here anymore.
Yes.
Yes. I just was born way too late for the way my brain functions by like 30 years.
It'll be a great integration as we evolve to be able to, like I said, it's going to be this, I see it, envision it as being this centralized place to start collecting all this data.
Right.
That, you know, that we've been collecting internally already for years, and to be able to utilize it for all the various situations that come up at these different sites. Okay, well, did we evaluate this because of this, or
exactly?
You know.
No, and it makes sense, and it will definitely be a positive.
Because sorry to interrupt you there, but because I've seen RFEs, you know, come together and call each other
all the time
and say, "Hey, I have this situation going on right now. Have you encountered this like this because of this?" And collectively coming to a decision of, you know, how we're going to move forward.
And they even talk to FEs that no longer work for Gruber or that have retired or whatever the situation is. They have people that they tap into even outside of Gruber. Hey, and there's people outside of Gruber that call into Gruber and say, hey, I cannot for the life of me figure this out. I mean, there was a situation just yesterday where it is a very awkward setup at this particular customer site.
Okay.
And what they're saying doesn't match the norm for that particular unit, and it's the size of battery. And so there were several calls yesterday that, hey, this doesn't add up, and they were able to find out why it's set up the way that it's set up, and it has to do with that specific location. It has to do with something about the room and the location, maybe the size of it or something. And so they had to do something a little out of the ordinary in order to make sure the customer had the runtime that they needed to make sure that their stuff was protected, to get their generator going. And if for some reason the generator didn't work, it gave them time to like shut down everything that needs to be shut down.
Right.
So again, it's a customer service thing where what we normally do isn't going to work because of the spacing, but let's do this instead. But then it kind of threw everybody off. Like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. But the FE that used to go manage that site, we were able to get a hold of him, and he was like, oh no, it's because blah, blah, blah. And so now everybody in service and half of the sales team knows that this particular customer, this is what's going on. So if anybody ever sees this, this is why. Right. So that was interesting. I just happened to be at the right place at the right time yesterday and learned about that. But but yeah, it was very interesting. That's
how that evolves.
For sure.
So this is going to provide us that platform for collecting all that data and all that knowledge to not only use in emergency situations, but in, like it says, the predictive opportunities. Right. So we can say, you know, they're experiencing, you know, interruptions more often to their UPS unit where they're having to use those batteries more frequently. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Right. And I think it will be able to tell you, like, it's happening around this time. So what's going on? Maybe there's another someone on the grid that does something at that time that pulls power more than they do. I know out by my house, the way the grid system there's one grid that's like really questionable. A lot of people have Teslas, and if they all plug them in at the same time, nobody has power. Luckily, it's the grid beside mine, not the one I'm on, because I'd be a little annoyed. But they had to get together. All of the neighbors have Teslas, and they got together. Oh, wow. And now they kind of have like a rotating schedule of who charges when. And they worked it out because it was such an issue that APS is just like, we can't.
They haven't caught up yet
to where they need to be. Exactly. Okay. And so, but the neighbors got together and they figured it out. And that was really cool of them to care enough about everybody else that they were willing to, like, basically have a schedule of when they could
that
charge
makes
their
sense.
own vehicle. But so far it's worked out. So that's a good, and that's a human thing. I don't know the AI could have told us, hey, by the way, you guys need to talk to each other and put yourself on a schedule. AI couldn't have put us on a schedule or put them on a schedule, but but it does have to do with the technology. You know, it's just
right. Okay,
there's definitely a lot.
We have a couple comments that we've been just cruising past.
Right. Sorry, Highlander. So Highlander says there were 2 vehicles yesterday in his neighborhood that had LiDAR on them. LiDAR with Michigan plates, and I live in Ohio. Whoa.
Oh, wow. I guess
comments went crazy.
We've been missing them for a minute.
I thought you didn't live in the United States. Now I'm really confused.
Okay.
Well, all right. Dre says self-driving cars is a no-no.
LOL.
Same. We're on the same page.
Highlander, the question mark was not mine. It's my cell phone. Oh, okay. Highlander, drink ginger and lemon tea and will prevent heart attacks.
Nicole, ask your robot to make that tea drink for you.
Yeah. There you go. Dre, the first smartwatch was launched in 1998. Oh, interesting to know. Highlander.
That's the year I graduated high school.
Well, there you go.
I didn't even have a cell phone back then. So.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Highlander, I'm here to get the social media team in business. I learned how to translate me, the Highlander. Okay. Nice. Thank you. We appreciate that.
It's Friday. They're going to
Well, go ahead and do that.
Highlander also says, people have accused me of being a bot. Well, next Friday, they're going to find out.
I know, right?
The Highlander. Yes, we are super
An actual person.
We've talked to him on the phone. Mm-hmm. Not me personally, but
yes,
within Gruber, many people have spoken to him on the phone. I've seen many people talk to him on the phone and said, "Hey, Highlander," but he is a real person. Yeah.
Yep.
But we're excited to meet him and introduce him to everybody next week for sure.
Yeah, it'll be a fun show.
Really fun.
And we didn't do our commercial break, so we'll do it at the end here.
Oh yeah.
We have our custom sunglass cases, courtesy of our group.
This backwards thing, I'm trying to learn.
There we go.
There we go.
Custom sunglass cases. They are stylish. They have a suede inside that doesn't scratch your sunglasses.
They're leather.
Custom engraving.
Custom engraving.
There we go. Custom engraving put on there. Anyways, how do we go about getting these, Jesse?
These are available on grubermotors.com.
Grubermotors.com. Okay.
And if you use code Aaron,
AARON,
you can get
Aaron
discount.
Hey, what kind of discount?
50% off, but we have to charge you double.
That's fantastic.
I think it's like 10% actually.
10%? Okay.
That's tax.
Nice.
A little bit.
There we go. Okay.
But so funny, the AI thing, Jesse and I were talking about this too. I have a friend who has a ring. Did you say it's a halo?
An Aura ring is what it's called.
Ring.
It's the tracker one.
It tracks like your sleeping habits. It tracks your steps like a watch would. But my friend that has it, she actually had told me the other day when we were out walking at baseball, it tracks your temperature and things. So like with women, it can tell you when to expect things to happen.
Oh,
like,
wow. Okay, right.
Within a very small period of time. And it actually was right. It was actually right. So, so I guess if a ring can tell you when you're going to have visitors, a robot can tell you anything.
The maintenance on a unit.
Right. So
there we go.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, absolutely. We can end it with kindness is always free. I love that tagline, and I like that.
That can be our tagline.
There we go. Kindness is always free. Spay and neuter your animals.
like, share, subscribe. What else? Comment.
Yes, there you go.
Basically, like and share, subscribe and share, subscribe and share, subscribe and share. We're not competitive at all.
We're going to get to 1 million.
We need to get to 1 million before 𝙤𝙗 does.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Have a great weekend.
All right.
Remember, kindness is always free.
There you go.
#.